Social media, the dings.
That's funny.
Welcome to Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp. Join Mary as she tickles your taste buds with her salty wit and her exceptional palate, all whilst guiding us through the land of low sodium living. Brought to you in part by our good friends and support over at Reeses Barkery Pawtique. Check them out at reesesbarkery.com. Give them a call at 815-363-7297 because your fur babies should eat healthy as well. Today, a little of this and a little of that. Welcome in.
Yeah, so when I started this, I didn't, it was years before I even started letting people know that I had liver disease.
Oh, you do?
I know. And it's always funny when someone looks at me in the hospital and they look at my records and go, wait, did you? Yeah, I know I have liver disease. So when you see my MRI scans, you're going to go, holy crap. Because my blood work looks great. So it felt like a woe is me pity party. And everybody kept saying, you need to tell your story. You need to tell your story. You need to tell your story and help other people. So that's the whole reason why this started. And I started my Facebook page and then the website and then the good morning from Singapore. So, oh, hey, Pam. And it started as a pilot to be fun and do whatever. And over the years, I have to remind myself that the reason people listen is because they want to hear what's relevant to them. They want to hear recipes, they want to hear everything else, but the perspective is that you're alone in the world and you're not. So it's funny because I always talk about, health and happiness, balance. And today we got some fun facts and a couple recipes just because everybody loves the fun facts and recipes. But I found that sharing my experiences, even though it feels like a pity party to me, so many people send me messages and how they didn't realize that it was happening to other people. They never thought that somebody else would be going through that. Like with my water retention, I have transverse myelitis. So I have a hole in my spine that causes nerve damage. It's the same thing that people who have MS have. And immediately after years of having my water weight under control from my liver disease, suddenly I couldn't control my water weight. Turns out it's a byproduct of my nerves. All of my doctors told me that it's not a symptom of transverse myelitis. It's not related. It has to be your liver. Let's get you on water pills, put you back on drugs, blah, 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 go down that path. So I know that Facebook is the devil, but it is also a useful tool when used properly. So I looked into my transverse groups, and lo and behold, everybody with transverse myelitis is having the same similar issues with water retention. Why the two are connected is anybody's guess. I've even brought it up to my doctors, and they go, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, there's 5,000 people in this group that say they have the same thing. So let's start with our health. And don't take your health for granted. When you're young and you think that things don't bother you, you can eat all the sugar you want, you can eat all the fat you want, you can eat all the fast food you want, you can not exercise, you can stay out late, you can do all those things. For most people, when you're lucky, as you get older, you have the normal things that, your blood pressure might be a little bit off. You might have some things later on in life. You have trouble, maintaining your weight, so on and so forth. But then there's those of us that are like me who, have liver disease or kidney disease or heart disease. And because of how we treated our body earlier in life, is part of the reason why, like, if I had known, and there's no way that I could have known genetically that I was predispositioned for the syndromes that I have. Maybe in the future when technology gets better, that might change. But if I had known that maybe I shouldn't drink so much, or maybe I shouldn't eat so much crap, who knows? There could have been something that could have been, or maybe I would have never gotten it at all. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It doesn't matter. But my new thing is I'm losing my hair.
Welcome to the club.
So, and I'm not, and those of you that don't know, and if you could see on Facebook, I have a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of hair. I've always, well, not always, I've cut it a couple times. And I'm not saying I'm losing my hair like most women and their husband goes, oh my God, I'm tired of cleaning the crap out of the shower drain. I'm losing my hair at the rate in which I'm actually going to have more blood work done just to make sure that it isn't something else. Now, when I talk about your health, it directly feeds into your happiness. Mm-hmm. Because for all intents and purposes, that could be the straw. I have advanced liver disease that is, for the most part, under control. And I also have transverse myelitis that has partially paralyzed me and screwed up all of my nerves from the middle of my shoulder blades down. And it is absolutely horrible, and I would not wish it on my best friend or any worst enemy that I have in a million years. Yeah. And now I wake up 2 weeks ago and literally had to clean the hair off the bottom of my socks because it looked like I just brushed, a dog. Yeah. And it has been continuing to the point where the hair tie doesn't even stay in my hair. So you would think that, and a lot of people do, that's that breaking point where you go, I can't take it anymore, and you break. And if you asked me, I will tell you that I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life. Hands down. Even with everything going on. And I looked at my husband and said, okay, so my hair is falling out. He says, all right, what's causing that? I don't know. I think I know what it is. There's a thing called telogen effluvium. It's a type of hair loss that happens usually 3 to 6 months after a stressor. So it could be, after pregnancy and a hormone change, menopause with hormonal changes, because most hair loss is a lot of times tied to either your genetics, mm-hmm. like you were genetically predispositioned to be bald no matter what you did.
Didn't, yeah. No matter which side of the family.
Right. You're going to have, at least, I mean, you're lucky though. You got a good dome. So it's
nice and round, yeah.
Because I don't know if you've ever seen bald people with a bad dome, because it's kind of just creepy. And you're like, you just get a wig.
Gwen says, have your hair lady use awa puhi on your hair.
I've read about it.
It works.
And there is a lot of things that can help. And so it does. It can be genetic. It could be alopecia, which is an autoimmune issue, which, as I'm slowly learning, there's a possibility that I have an autoimmune syndrome of some kind because of my liver and my, that's exactly what caused the hole in my spine, is my immune system ate a hole in the fat that surrounds my spinal cord. So far as of now, they don't think I have MS. That could change, but that's what that is. And then
I just wish I had an immune system that would eat my fat.
Right. Don't we all? My propensity for ice cream late at night is my downfall. Because if you watch some of my past shows, you shouldn't eat after like 6 o'clock. Right. And once I'm done with my day, it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I can't help it. Especially now that it's Girl Scout season, it is a bowl of ice cream with 2 Girl Scout cookies in it. So it's like a double whammy, but whatever. I'm happy. I don't care. I just have to do a couple extra trips up and down the stairs to burn it off. When you have a stressor, and it's funny because so many times you think of, like, I was stressed last night because my marriage ended, or I got in a car accident, or something happened. Usually things like that take time. So this particular stress, and a lot of times hair loss is stress related, but it's usually 3 to 6 months after you go through that stressful event. So now if you look at 3 to 6 months ago and what I went through, I had COVID. So whether that is a direct relation because I was sick, I'm not saying that COVID caused me to lose my hair. I could have had any illness. And because I have liver disease, that means that any imbalance in my immune system and my hormones significantly affects me. I could walk past a bonfire that's burning stuff that they shouldn't be burning, and it will affect me for days. I could also be premenopausal. It could also be that I just ate too much garbage and something's going on with my liver. So there's a million things that could be causing it. Either way, I'm going to go to my doctor, get all my stuff checked out. And the chances are is I'm going to have to cut off most of my hair, which to me, I just like, whatever. I'm going to give my husband a shaver and let him shave my head if it gets to that point, because how many people get to say they get to shave their wife's head in their lifetime? And when my hair fell out, I didn't fall out. When my hair started to fall out when I got liver disease, same thing happened. Massive amounts of hair. And I told my husband the same thing. Like, I'm going to let you shave it. Like, if it gets to that point where I actually have patches that you can see of baldness, I'm just going to say screw it and let you shave my head. And if I have an ugly dome, then I'm going to go to a wig store. And if I don't, then I'm going to rock the baldness and just whatever and go on with life. So it was funny to me, because as my husband and I are talking about it, and I'm thinking how many times things like this, things so much less significant, ruin people because you give that weight. Like, where do you want to give the weight? So that was where I was thinking this morning for our show, a little of this, little of that, little of everything, because you need to find that balance. You need to find that happiness, which is where my shirt is today, Kids in Need. I don't know if Mickey's listening, or Alicia from Second Bridge, and Stuff the Duffel for those of you that are local in our area. Kids in Need is an organization that identifies and provides kids with the resources that they need to help them out in our community. So clothing, they just got a new house in Crystal Lake for foster children. So if you need a place, whether you're a foster child or just a child, to actually go, because sometimes with custody issues, you need a place to visit, because they want to put children back with their parents if at all possible. But you talk about happiness, and that's my happy place. When you talk about how I can be happy when I have long, beautiful hair and I'm a girl, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of guys that would cry more than I would if they were losing their long, beautiful hair. Because no offense to you boys out there, but you seem to be a little bit more girly than the most of us half the time.
Most of the time.
So, but that's part of my happiness, is if I'm not at home with my husband, which is my happy place, cooking stuff and, talking stupid things, it is out giving to other people. And I had coffee with a friend of mine recently, and she says, you need to meet this person. Someone she hadn't even met yet. And I laughed. I was like, that's already a really good friend of mine. So we already realized that we had the same sphere of people. And it dawned on me that the reason why I have those people in my life right now is because my genuine focus is to help other people, to share my knowledge, and essentially pay it forward. And it's amazing how much that has gravitated those same kinds of people to me. So between talking to her and finding out that all of these things that we give to are the same thing, like Kids in Need. She says, you need to meet this person because, if you give back and stuff, I don't know if you've heard of Kids in Need, but she sits on the board, whatever, so on and so forth. So I just thought it was funny. We all meet these same people, and that happiness has allowed me to take things like losing my hair in stride. I mean, it sucks, but I got to find the humor in it. You can't.
Right.
What is going nuts in
tattoo hair up there?
Oh my God. That would be so incredibly painful.
It would.
Yeah. And I'm saying that because I have tattoos. There is no way I would let you tattoo my head. No. Yeah. I don't know. Pay me $1 billion and I might consider it. Gotcha. I had mentioned this on a show previously and said that, if you're walking through hell and stop to complain, you will burn. If you keep moving forward, you will come out the other side. Mm-hmm. When you start climbing a mountain, you don't necessarily, if I told you I'm going to give you $1 billion, I'm going to give you a compass and you walk north. And at the end of that walk, There's going to be $1 billion cash for you to do with whatever you want. Are you going to start walking? Or are you going to ask me, well, how long of a walk is it? I can do like 2 miles, maybe 3. But you're going to start walking and it starts going uphill and you're going, okay, this sucks. You sure that, yep, there's $1 billion at the end. You just got to keep going. You're going to keep walking. But when things get hard and you don't have that definitive thing at the end, you stop and complain and woe is me and pity party and so on and so forth. Did you have a big giant pity party when you started losing your hair, or was it like when you were 9?
No, when I noticed it, I always said I wasn't going to be one of those guys with the hair halo, right? So
come on.
So when I saw the back of my head, which I hadn't in a while, from a camera angle, and I didn't think that was me until my daughter ran up and hugged my leg. I was like, I went home and shaved my head.
It's gone. That's funny.
And it has not been back since.
I commend you on that, because there's so many people that try so hard to hide it, and it's just like, I mean, I guess if it makes you happy, whatever. Yeah. Like, more power to you.
I mean, there's an orange guy that has
yeah, right. I don't know, I can't remember his name, but there's some real well-known famous dude that he does the same thing, and he pretends that nobody knows what's going on.
Oh my gosh.
Anywho. But it is funny. I can't help but find the irony in the fact that, I tell my husband that I love him and would do the goofiest stuff, because more often than I probably should, because it's weird to me to feel this level. I've always been an optimistic kind of, silver lining, happy person. I mean, there was a brief period where maybe not so much, but, I was young and stupid. But it's hard for me to believe. And so much of that stems from putting the weight on the happiness and not dissecting the misery that I could be in and giving the weight to that. So it makes a huge difference, especially in the world that we live in right now. And if you want to piss and moan about what you're going through, I could literally make a few phone calls here and have some people on speed dial, and they can tell you stories of people that they like. It's not even funny. But that brings you to the balance.
Yeah.
And the key to almost everything is balance. Again, you speak of what's going on in the world. There's people who are suffering unimaginable atrocities right now. And then at the same time, I guarantee you there's someone right now that it's the happiest moment in their life, and they've never felt so much love, and they've given birth to their first child. And maybe it's someone who was told that they can't have children, or that it's a mother that lost her husband in a fight that wasn't his to fight. Mm-hmm. And now she still feels the most love that she's ever felt. There's always that balance. And it's the same that comes down to your health and your happiness. If you have too much stress, you take time to balance and decompress. If you work too much, you take time off and focus on yourself. Too much sugar, too much fat, too much salt, you reassess and you refocus, and you find a dietary structure that helps you no matter what. That once you start finding that balance, and it's funny how, Kent, you and I have talked so much about this recently, that in this past year, part of that balance is not feeling selfish for getting rid of the toxicity in our life.
Right. Yep.
Because we both like to be those optimistic style people that help others. And eventually you have to say, I need to put some of that help on me. Mm-hmm. Because how can I help all? Because so I have the radio show, I have my job, which I absolutely love. I never thought, who would have thought I would geek out so much on insurance? Totally do. My radio show, 3 different chambers, the Rotary, all of the different charities that I do my best to participate in. And then, of course, my life, which my husband stands above all else. That, it's the two of us. That's my happy place. I go home and I cook things and I spend time with my husband. But all of those different things to find balance and say, no, it's amazing how much you do. You go home, and I guarantee you feel the same way, where you go home, you're like, how, I can't believe I haven't been this happy before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for that same reason. So,
yeah, truly humbled that, we made a move in December from our house that we were at in 18 years. We love that house, right? There's nothing wrong with that house. But if you compare apples to apples, God's good and is, so every time I pull into my driveway now, I'm just humbled to go, oh,
right.
Wow. Beautiful.
It's funny you say that, because we loved our last house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and we
nice.
thought we fought so hard. You did.
Yeah.
I mean, you were there with me through it. So it's, we fought so hard to try and get that house, and it just wasn't in the cards. And it wasn't until my attorney, God rest, but he's amazing. He like, you know what? I'm telling you, we're not doing this. Like I can do, you're going to pay me to do whatever you want me to do. So I'm your attorney. I will make it as legal as possible. I'm going to do what you want me to do. But I'm telling you, as your attorney, I don't think you should do this. This is the dumbest, and he did not sugarcoat it at all. You're an idiot. Don't do this. You're signing papers with your heart. You know how many times I had wished I had that over the last 40 years for someone to go,
hello, McFly.
You need to pull the brakes a little bit and think about this logically.
Oh.
And if I had not done that, I feel home for the first time since my childhood home in the house that we're in now.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So the same thing, I pull up every day, and it's just this tiny little weird, quirky 100-year-old home that's got a million problems. But I seriously couldn't, the people that I'm surrounded with, and even with all of the problems that I have, I'm sitting here laughing this morning at my husband because he made a joke. And I was like, who else? Like, I need to be tested. Like, how is this? I'm literally contemplating. Monday, I have to start calling to get tests done to find out why I'm losing my hair. And I'm genuinely, like, ear to ear grinning, happier than I've ever been in my entire life.
Maybe that's why you're losing it. You're too happy.
Maybe, I don't know. Something in my diet.
You're stress free.
Right? I'm stress free. Right?
Maybe that's the stress.
Oh, I don't know. See, that's the thing is, the amount of stress that gets lifted when you eliminate the toxic people in your life and the toxic things and the toxic, just the tasks that you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On a regular basis.
We're close. I just thought I'd throw up your website there, mylosolifestyle.com. Good recipes, how to live low sodium, no salt, now wet, and look at that, a little ricotta risotto.
Oh my gosh, I made risotto again the other night, and I put there's an Italian dish that it's your typical poor man's dish, pasta and peas.
Oh yeah.
And I love pasta and peas, so I made risotto the other day and threw peas in it because my husband and I love peas. So delicious. It was risotto and peas. And I just couldn't help but laugh and tell my husband, like, how every chef on every Food Network would be like, oh my God, you just put canned peas, not even good frozen peas or fresh peas. You put canned peas, unsalted canned peas in a beautiful risotto. You are nuts. You did that wrong. You ruined the dish, blah, blah, blah. And on top of it, I didn't use salt. So whatever.
Right. Didn't season, quote unquote.
I know. Dude, when you watch, even now, it's so funny to watch my husband be like, "Did you see how much salt they put in that?"
I was watching the show, and a little shout out to our good friend Gordon Ramsay, who I know is listening right now, and Richard Blaze got a new show called Next Level Chef, and they're going, and this guy has, I don't know, he's got some meat rib cuts or something. And he's like massaging two of them in his hands while he's just dropping salt all over it and rubbing it. And I'm like, it's just salt that he's putting, just smothering it. And I'm like,
and that's what's so funny about when people ask, like, can I go to a restaurant? How do I eat out? And when you're in an area that you're blessed to have restaurants that make their own food, which we are, Olympic Cafe, Jude's there. I mean, God, there's, what's her name? Stuckey's.
yeah. Chef Deb.
Right. The Duke's. There's so many restaurants that I have in the area that they make real food. So it's
Yeah.
very easy for me to pick and choose and decide what I want to eat. But what most people don't realize about restaurants, when you make like a garlic shrimp scampi pasta, it's a few garlic cloves per serving. It's not like a recipe you pull out of a cookbook where it says 1 garlic clove, or it says 1 tablespoon of butter.
Right.
The reason why everything tastes so incredibly good is because they put 8 pounds of salt on it to bring out the flavors and enhance everything, to punch your palate, to make you taste all those things. Usually it's like an entire stick of butter to do that. And then a boatload of garlic or whatever herbs and spices. So, I mean, it's always comical when you read a recipe and it's like you want a tablespoon of butter and a clove of garlic. But that is not what you're getting at a restaurant. It'll taste fine at home, but it is not what you're getting at a restaurant. So but yes, you can eat out.
We digress, but yeah.
I wanted, because it's always so much fun to go through the food facts. We had a fun doing it last week. This one I actually thought was funny. Peaches and nectarines are the same thing. So again, we talk about genetically modified foods. Depending on where they grow and what species of version of it you get, much like grapes are grapes. You don't call them different things. You just call them by their color.
Seedless or...
They're either seeded or unseeded, which is a modified product. And I get it. Yes, you can have the argument genetically modified products where they actually modify the genes scientifically in a lab versus splicing 2 different plants together and pollen and so forth and blah, blah, blah. You can go down that rabbit hole all you want. But peaches are the same thing. Peaches and nectarines just depends on which strain you're using. They're either fuzzy or they're not.
I always find nectarines a little bit tougher, right? Not as soft and juicy as a peach, perhaps.
See, now nectarines I've always found to be much like an avocado, where it's not ripe, it's not ripe, it's not ripe. It's ripe. You have 3 seconds to eat it, and then it's a pile of mush, and you might as well turn it into something else. So I don't know if that has something to do with the fuzziness protecting them from being ripe longer.
Yeah, I don't know.
German chocolate cake isn't German.
Oh.
Not even a little bit. It was the first recipe for German chocolate cake was actually written by a Texas homemaker. I don't know how.
Germantown, Texas.
I mean, maybe she was German or German heritage. I don't know.
So the rich, delicious chocolate cake with the coconut and stuff and glazing on it is from Texas.
The recipe is, yes. The guy who invented the kind of baking chocolate that was with the first published chocolate or German chocolate cake recipe, his name was Sam German.
Oh.
So it was named German chocolate cake because it was with the chocolate the baking chocolate that he invented.
Good old Sam German.
Right?
Now that's, oddly enough, I will use that bit of knowledge
Sam German
for a long time.
Hey man, I'm just here to educate you with stuff that you said you would know.
I wouldn't have never guessed that. I thought because of the coconut and the type of icing, that's why it was called German. And there's a couple different layers in there, of course.
No. Yeah. I just figured it was invented by somebody who was in Germany.
Yeah. Like red velvet, I thought was something special at one time too.
It's beets. They just use.
Happens to be my favorite.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Well, as long as it doesn't have actual red dye in it, if you use the beet juice to dye it red. Yeah. This one actually kind of surprised me a little bit. I didn't realize that wasabi was so hard to come by.
Really?
Most wasabi is just horseradish dyed green. It's not actual. So here in the States, if you live abroad where you can get wasabi and actually have them like an actual sushi chef, say that 10 times fast. Apparently, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. I'm drinking water, so I need more coffee. Sushi chef. That's hilarious. Try and forget that bit of knowledge. You want to make me sound like an idiot? Have me say that. They actually, they use this shark skin grater. You would think shark skin is smooth. It's not. It's got this almost like fish scales have that. You would look and think that a fish is smooth and it's got scales once you rub it the wrong way. So they take it, looks like ginger or horseradish. It's a root.
Mm-hmm.
But when they take that wasabi and grate it on that super fine, almost like a sandpaper, that's where it turns it into that little paste. But real wasabi is very difficult to grow. It's very expensive and usually has to be consumed within 10 or 15 minutes of actually grating it. So to grow it and ship it wherever you need it to go and actually process it fresh, it needs to be done.
Of course, you're listening to 21.6 The Net. This is Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Reeses Barkery and Pawtique. Why? Because even your fur babies need to eat healthy and be healthy. Check them out at reesesbarkery.com or give them a call at 815-363-7297. You can order online. They will ship it anywhere. Absolutely good stuff over at Reese's, and thank you for that. Good stuff. Now, you know what I miss is when I was growing up, we had this metal. Remember, it had a handle. It was the metal cheese grater. It was
I have
about
one.
10 inches tall. And
I use it like every week.
Each side
the
was
box grater.
Yeah, each side was a different
type
of grating. I don't have that in my kitchen, and I was just thinking about that as you were talking about that shark grater.
Speaking of graters, I've had the same cheapo, bought it at Jewel. I don't even know how long ago, decades ago, microplaner that I use to microplane my ginger and my garlic and stuff like that. And every time I see someone on one of these cooking shows and they're microplaning something and it's like, oh, I nicked my finger. Like, how do you cut yourself on that? I've never cut myself. Come to find out that my microplaner is not, I don't think it ever had a sharpness to it. So I've grated my knuckles across that thing so many times. Apparently that's how I get my aggression out is microplaning garlic on something that doesn't actually have a sharp blade. So those that know me know that my favorite store is Kitchen Outfitters here locally in town. It's every kitchen gadget you could possibly want. And if she doesn't have it, she will get it for you. So my microplaner is very old and it's starting to break. The handle is starting to bend off. So I was like, all right, I'm going to
get a new one.
It's not like they're $1 million. And sure enough, first lemon I went to zest, like sliced my thumb. Holy shnikes, these they're supposed to be sharp. You think I cook all the time? You think that I would know this? Nope. Same with my box grater. Mine is so old.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't have much of a sharpness to it. Tangent side note, fun fact about grating cheese.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to make a dish like a macaroni and cheese or something that you want to actually have a creamy cheesiness to it, the go-to for people usually is to grab like a bag of shredded cheese.
Right.
And the problem with that is it has an anti-caking chemical. It's perfectly edible. It's not horribly bad for you. It's nutritionally void of just about anything. But it stops that grated cheese from clumping back into a solid brick of cheese, which if you're buying shredded cheese is not the purpose of buying shredded cheese. So if you in turn use those shredded cheese, if you've ever made a macaroni and cheese and you're like, why does it have this gritty taste to it? Or why does this cheese separate? It's because you used packaged shredded cheese. So if you want a creamy melted cheese that doesn't split or doesn't taste graty, you're going to have to muscle it up and grate the cheese yourself. I didn't know that for years and then finally had learned that. So now I like my macaroni and cheese. I do half white cheddar and half Swiss cheese. And I will get arguments all the time that they don't like Swiss cheese. Seriously, just try it once in a mac and cheese dish or something like that. Especially if you can't have salt. It's super low in sodium, one of the lowest sodium cheeses you can get. And I'm not a huge Swiss fan myself, just eating Swiss cheese.
Right.
But making it in my mashed potatoes or my macaroni and cheese is absolutely fabulous. Pineapples. Do you know you can grow pineapples at home?
I did not.
I always thought pineapples were on a tree.
Yep.
They're not.
Oh.
If you can picture an aloe plant,
yeah,
only like the size of a dining room table, And out of the center of it, you get one huge stalk and it grows one pineapple. Pineapples take 2 or 3 years to grow. And so the next time you buy a pineapple, realize that that's why they're expensive, is because it takes 2 or 3 years. You grow this big giant plant, you get one pineapple, that's it.
Yeah. Now, after you harvest that, does it grow back, or that plant's done?
I think that sometimes they can grow multiples. I'm not 100% certain on that.
So it's like a stalk of corn.
Right.
You get one.
Right.
What is it?
I think it can grow I think sometimes they'll grow more, but I'd have to actually look that up. I'm not 100% certain on that one.
Interesting.
I
always thought they were like in a palm tree with coconuts.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of the spiky nature. I just automatically assume that like on the top of a palm tree and there was a bunch of pineapples. Some guy would shimmy up the tree, pick all the pineapples off, throw them down to a little dude in the basket. I don't know where I got that from.
Obviously, I did too.
Right. That is the vision that I had in my head of where pineapples come from. The purple thistle flowers that grow in your garden from a giant weed, like the prickler bush weeds. And then at the top, if you pick that prickler bush, it grows that big purple flower. That's the same plant, just a different species of it or version of it as artichokes. So if you let an artichoke grow to the point where you don't pick the artichoke, it inside that artichoke heart, that is the part that everybody loves, that will eventually bloom out and turn into that purple flower.
That's amazing.
So
Gary says very, very common over there in that part of the world.
Pineapples?
Yeah. The fruit is actually the crown of the plant.
They get all the good stuff.
Over there, Singapore. We should just go there.
I would love to go to Singapore. Maybe not right now. I don't want to fly anywhere.
Yeah, maybe not. Getting out of here.
A while.
Getting out of here might be easy. Getting back in.
Right. That's always. I'm like, you can go anywhere you want. It's getting home that's always the problem. Right. Too much nutmeg can get you high. Like it's
like
funny you
stoned
think
high.
Yeah. It contains myristicin. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that one. A compound that has hallucinatory qualities and brutal side effects if ingested in very large doses. So don't obviously try that.
Ingested.
But it whenever someone talks about how this has cyanide in it or this has that in it, the vast majority of stuff that we eat has stuff that can kill us in large quantities. That's where science comes from.
Right.
Science discovers that nightshades can be turned into a poison. So if you eat too much of them, and there's like me, I've discussed this before, I'm nightshade sensitive. So if I eat too many zucchinis, tomatoes, potatoes, which are all of the things that I grow and absolutely love and eat on a regular basis,
the good stuff.
I am sensitive to that. But there are certain nightshades that flat out are poisonous. You eat them once and they will kill you. I don't know what they are because I am not a specialist in poison. What did he say?
Gary says they are tropical fruits and are very cheap.
Well, maybe where you're from.
I mean, are we talking pineapple or nutmeg? Is nutmeg a fruit?
No, it's
I don't know.
I believe it's the seed of a plant.
Of a nut.
Yeah. I don't actually think it's a nut.
Thus, the nutmeg.
But, well, it's the same like peanuts. Peanuts aren't nuts.
No, they're legumes.
They are legumes. They're beans, and they grow in the dirt. Cilantro. This one is fascinating to me only because of the fact that not only do I hate cilantro, but after I did the whole 23andMe thing and discovered that I'm genetically predispositioned to probably hate cilantro, which I think is something that's amazing that genetics can actually show. I discovered coriander after I bought Michael Simon's Fix It With Food cookbook, which I absolutely love. Plug for Michael Simon. I would always love to have lunch with him. He looks like a pretty cool cat.
I know, right?
He just does. He seems like a very down-to-earth guy.
And he's best friends with Bobby Flay. So.
Right. Who also seems like he'd be a good guy, but a little on the pompous side because he's unbelievably rich.
Yeah.
So, but in one of his books, one of the salads or something had coriander. I'd never cooked with coriander, so I got some coriander. Come to find out, because I research everything, coriander and cilantro are the same thing. At first, someone told me, well, coriander is the seed of the cilantro plant. It's not. They're the same. Depending on where you live in the world, if somebody says put coriander in it, they will be talking about cilantro. Whether you're using the seeds of it, normally here, when you look in the spice aisle, you can see like dried cilantro as a freeze-dried herb or something. But usually you see ground coriander, which is the seed of the cilantro, seed of the coriander plant. So depending on where you're at, there was one recipe I read. I was making some Mexican dish, and it said to add fresh chopped coriander. And my brain is thinking, those are like little seeds. How do I do that? So I had to research it again and found out it's the same thing. They just meant chopped cilantro. It's like, holy crap. But they taste completely different.
Yes.
Cilantro tastes like garbage.
I like cilantro.
It's bleh. Tastes like Pine Sol to me, like some kind of cleaning. It's gross to me. I don't know.
I can see that.
It's absolutely horrible to me. But coriander is got like this sweet. So now I put it in my tuna fish. Anytime I make tuna salad, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So to me, it's fascinating how something can taste so horrible as the plant, but so good as the spice.
Right on. Gary says that pineapple goes for about $2 to $3 US over there.
Oh, it's a little cheaper than ours. I feel like
goes,
$1 or $2 more than that.
Yeah.
It's like
ours,
3 or 4.
Ours
maybe
goes by pound usually.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I honestly stopped paying attention. And I know this sounds horribly pompous, but I stopped paying attention to the cost of food. Because the sad truth is it's more expensive to eat healthy.
Yeah.
So whether it's $2 or $5, I'm going to buy the fruits and vegetables and so on and so forth, because I'm going to eat it either way. And especially now that I don't have to buy meat from the grocery stores, I tend to not really pay that much attention because my grocery bill is fairly low. Because all I'm buying is, today, if I'm going to make something, I have to buy onions or something like that of that nature. That's something that's going to spoil pretty quickly. So when everybody talks about superfoods, like spinach is a superfood, and oranges, if you're sick and you need vitamin C, eat oranges. Sweet peppers have more vitamin C than oranges.
I do that.
2 to 3 times more vitamin C. Depending on the color and the ripeness, much like bananas, many fruits, vegetables, the nutritional content changes significantly through the ripening phase. So like bananas that are a little bit more green and less ripe are lower on the glycemic index than bananas that are almost brown and super, super sweet.
And you don't have the acid of an orange.
Right.
I prefer the yellows, orange, and red peppers more than.
So now, if you plant in your garden, if you plant hot peppers next to your sweet peppers might end up tasting like hot peppers.
Really?
It's something to do with the way they're pollinated, or I don't remember. I researched it when it first happened because my husband and I don't do spicy. I mean, I can do a little bit of spice, but I can't, even like poblanos that are mild compared to other peppers. I just can't do it. My husband, on the other hand, when we grow habaneros and ghost peppers in our garden in the summer, he slices them up and puts them on his salad like they're tomatoes.
Yeah. We've still got like scorpion spit hot sauce from Pete here at the studio.
I'm actually placing, for those of you that haven't heard of Little Bird Kitchens, he was on the show, not my show, but at the station on one of the shows.
Fred Dudek.
Yep. I I'll be posting here soon because I'm going to place an order to have, because it's easier for him to ship a bigger order and just have it, and then I can have people pick it up for me because he lives a couple hours south of here. But we don't have, he makes this Triple X cowboy candy.
Oh, mama.
So it's like pickled, like if you can think of sweet pickles, but with hot peppers, is what cowboy candy is. It's a very popular thing with people that's spicy. So it's like sweet and heat. But the peppers and the way he makes it, and my husband, like I said, he eats ghost peppers like candy.
Golly.
And it almost killed him. He legit thought that we needed to go to that. He actually asked me, can this like I know they talk about the burn, but can it actually burn through your stomach? He made the mistake of having on a completely empty stomach, had not eaten anything that day. I come home and bring him this cowboy candy, and he ate half the jar. Like, oh my God, this shit's amazing. And within 20 minutes, he's in the fetal position on the couch. Like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
I mean, because Pete loved hot stuff.
He
Like
put
I said,
hot sauce in his coffee.
yeah. I mean, he's got, like I said, we got scorpion spit hot sauce sitting over here in the fridge. But when he brought that hot AF cowboy candy, Pete tried to.
I just remember Dawn eating it. She's sitting there with it. She didn't move.
Pete tried to be cool about it, and he started snotting and sweating.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Whoa, this is.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yep. Don't eat stuff like that on an empty stomach. I'm telling you.
Always have a good layer on the bottom of your gut.
Whew. Yeah, no, it was watching that kick my husband's ass. And like I said, we've got 5 different kinds of hot sauce in our fridge at all times. And it almost murdered him.
Now I like, I like a little bit of hot sauce. I want to enjoy, I shouldn't be crying and snotting when I'm eating, right?
See, that's my problem is, I'm just so sensitive to things that every once in a while, when we make dinner and we're sitting down at dinner and my husband has his hot sauce or whatever, if he like touches his plate with his fork and then goes to dig more of a side dish on his plate, every once in a while, like that transfers to what I'm eating. And it's like, and it blows out my taste buds. Oh, yeah. So the rest of my meal just tastes like hot sauce. Yeah. And
I follow a young guy on TikTok and he eats.
What's that show? Hot Ones?
6 million Scoville units or something like that. I'm like, what?
Have you seen the show Hot Ones?
No.
Plug for somebody else.
Right.
Hey, Hot Ones, come to my show. The whole point of the show is to go through this level of hot sauce on wings. So the host interviews, like the one we just watched the other day was with David Grohl, which that's another person. You want to come on my show? He's a foodie. He cooks. He loves cooking. He does briskets. Like he competes. Like I think David Grohl would be another cool cat that probably is an actual real human being that would be fun to talk to. Hashtag Dave Grohl. But the whole point of the show is they both have their line of hot sauces and the line of wings that have all been made and dipped in these hot sauces. And then while he's interviewing them, you go through these so some people are like, Gordon Ramsay was on there. He's dying through the whole thing. And of course he's Gordon Ramsay. Right. So he's swearing, what the shit? Like this is, woo. And you're just sitting here like, okay. And David Grohl was just like talking, oh yeah, no, like he was eating French fries through the whole thing. Like, and he's like, oh yeah, I have this one at home in my kitchen. Like,
wow.
What? Nope. Wow. Couldn't do it.
Gary, the photo didn't come through. I think he tried to send us a photo. It may be the
oh, I believe it.
Yeah. He says a photo of local fruit stall here, pineapples, bananas galore. But we don't have I think the software we use probably.
Oh yeah, no, they probably won't allow the photo comment things. So lemons float, limes sink. See, these are just fun things that the food knowledge would be like something that you would place a bet on.
What is
like
an
when
orange?
You're drinking?
Does orange sink?
It comes down to density. So limes are a little more dense. Put a dunce hat on them. But they when you cut up limes, they sink to the bottom of your thing and lemons float. So I'm just the one who geeks out on this stuff. Like this is
See, I do too. I find it very fascinating.
Right, you know?
And then I go, why haven't I ever noticed this before or tried to see if it works?
Right. So now I want to go home and slice up a lemon and see if it sinks to the bottom of my water glass.
But then again,
and it does.
But then again, you get an iced tea with lemon, the lemon floats. You put a lime in your vodka, it drops to the bottom. Interesting.
Well, that's why if you ever get iced tea with lemon, you're digging it out of the bottom of the thing with your straw so that you can actually squeeze the lemon juice in there because, when you order tea with lemon.
The URL's not coming up.
Yeah, no.
But maybe if we go into the comments on YouTube afterwards, we can do that. But,
yes, probably. This one I thought was a lot of fun. You can hear rhubarb grow. Right? Exactly. Yeah, that is exactly what it is. You can hear it grow. So placing rhubarb in a dark shed or a dark environment to mimic spring which is how rhubarb growers make their rhubarb grow faster so they can sell it. It results in unusually fast growth that you can actually hear the popping of the stems as they lengthen. And one of the...
Oh, I would wonder what that sounds like.
I don't know.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
You're going to pull a video of rhubarb growing. Whoop. Fascinating, riveting radio here. Anybody want to watch a video of rhubarb growing? It made me think of, there's a video of these people touching blades of grass to a radio tower.
Yeah.
And they're transmitting the music through the blades of grass. Also the same amount of time they're transferring the electricity, and the people were getting shocked, and it was hilarious. It's a stupid YouTube video. So I wanted to share a few recipes. Spring is coming.
Yep.
One of my favorites, and it's on my website, is corn salad.
Oh.
Sweet corn. It's 8 cups of sweet corn, a large red bell pepper, large green bell pepper, red onion, all diced, a couple of garlic cloves, depending on how much garlic you like. I put 2 garlic cloves in my recipe, but I actually personally put like 8 or 9 garlic cloves in my recipe. And a 10-ounce can of Rotel. There's mild version and a spicy version, and there's unsalted and salted version. So whatever suits your fancy. If you're allowed to have salt, you can have the salted version. Even though the mild unsalted version is supposed to be mild, it's still too spicy for my pathetic ass. So I actually drain it before I add it to my salad, just because it's too spicy for me. The dressing is 1 cup of mayonnaise, cup of sour cream, and a tablespoon each of balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, ground coriander, herbs de Provence, Dax Original Red Seasoning Blend. If you don't have Dax, you can go to daxspices.com and get them. They're amazing salt-free spices. Otherwise, you can use a blend of like paprika or something of that nature if you want to. And 2 tablespoons of honey. Mash it all up. Mix it up in a dish, and it makes an amazing, amazing side salad, especially if you live in this area and you get to get the Mirai sweet corn. But any sweet corn will do. You know, there's painted glass sweet corn.
I did not.
It looks like a hippie sweet corn. It's like purple and yellow and orange and red, and it's like, it literally looks like stained glass. It's every kernel is a different color.
I would eat the
rainbow. Yeah, it's sweet corn.
Now, do you have to put the Rotel in? I'm not a big red sauce fan.
So Rotel is just red peppers and green pepper, like it's chopped tomatoes, onions, and hot peppers.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. If you wanted to, you could literally, if you just wanted the heat, you could just dice up some jalapenos or whatever, hot pepper, poblanos, or whatever that you like. But it's, even the other night we made, we had a vegetarian night. I'm trying to do a meatless night once a week because we eat far too much meat because we like.
You got a couple freezers.
Right. I have a farm group, so I have like half a cow and a pig and turkeys and chickens, and I have so much. But we enjoy it. So I'm trying to do better because with liver disease, I have to watch my protein intake. Mm-hmm. Well, so we made risotto, and I made a bean salad. And white beans, black beans, because that was what's in my cupboard, salt-free. And people, just because it's in a can doesn't mean it's bad. I get it. Processed foods, canned foods, boxed foods, frozen foods, especially now with everybody trying to be healthier, get a bad rap. You really just need to pay attention to what's in it. Pay attention to the label, pay attention to the ingredients, because if it says salt-free and you read the ingredients and then it says potassium chloride, you still have to be mindful of those things and how they affect your medications and so on and so forth. But as somebody who all my life have hated beans, I'd go to Taco Bell and specifically order anything without beans. Burritos, all of it. Like I don't want the beans on it. I don't know why. I just didn't like beans. And now I love them. I make them all the time. Literally made nothing but a bean salad. Black beans, white beans, which are also cannellini beans, or you could use chickpeas or kidney beans, whatever the heck you have. An entire white sweet onion, diced up. Garlic as much as you can stand. I do 2 cloves, but sometimes even half a clove is too much for people when you're doing it fresh. olive oil, balsamic vinegar, red wine vinegar, pepper, and herbs de Provence. I use a lot of herbs de Provence. You can get it at any grocery store in the spice aisle. A lot of times people in their spice cabinet have an Italian herb blend, which you could also use. It'd be just fine. But herbs de Provence is pretty much the same as any Italian herb blend, only it has typically lavender. So it adds a different kind of floral flavor, which I very much enjoy in a lot of my dishes. I have to be careful because my husband does not like that flavor. It's not that he doesn't like it. There's a point where it's just too much. So, but those are the kinds of things that I will whip up while I'm making dinner. Put it in the fridge, and it lasts for days. But you wouldn't think of those kinds of things as a quick side dish. It's so often that we get stuck in that mashed potatoes, green beans, peas, whatever your upbringing and your heritage said was a side dish. So I try to step outside the box as much as humanly possible to find all of these different unique, like you search a different culture and go, what was the side dish on your table for dinner all the time? Mine, it was always mashed potatoes. It was always, or green beans.
Corn, mashed potatoes, corn.
Yep. Or canned asparagus. I wouldn't recommend anybody eat that. How that ever became a thing in the first place.
I love asparagus, not in a can.
I didn't know I liked asparagus until I was like almost 40. And one of my sister's friends was growing it. And then they showed me their garden. We were looking, I was like, holy crap, your garden's beautiful and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what the hell are those things? Oh, it's asparagus. It's just coming in. That's how asparagus grows? Like, it's literally like, it's like someone's playing a trick on you.
Right.
It's literally just a stick of asparagus sticking out of the dirt. It's not a plant. It's not part of a plant. Same with Brussels sprouts. Yeah. Big giant stalk with little tiny Brussels sprouts all over. Little tiny cabbages.
Love Brussels sprouts. Oh, I'm going to have some tonight, as a matter of fact.
I try to turn as many people on to Brussels sprouts as I can. I have yet to be successful.
Oh, man, you got to do it with the little bacon grease.
It doesn't. I will eat them. I'm a cabbage person.
I do too. I absolutely love it.
I make a Brussels slaw. So instead of using a head of green cabbage, I will buy a couple pounds of Brussels sprout, and put them in a food processor to make that same shredded julienne slaw with Granny Smith apples, purple onions, and then some kind of vinaigrette dressing, depending on how I feel that day, whether it's a mayonnaise-based, sour cream-based, or just a vinegar-based dressing. I tend to like that Brussels cabbage better than the green cabbage.
Yes.
Oh, what did Ted say?
Ted says, I hated Brussels sprout until I mixed them with cabbage, onion, and bacon. Yummy. Throw a little, not Worcestershire, but
A1?
No. It's you put it in a lot of Chinese food.
Soy.
That's it. Yeah.
Big giant.
I can see the bottle. You put a little bit of that in there.
I wish everybody in the world of radio could see him flailing his arms around the studio like I'm supposed to know.
I got my thumb out like a long neck on the bottle too. You know the thing.
Like he's giving me some kind of weird thumbs down, and I'm supposed to know that means soy sauce. Oh, this is great. Riveting radio.
Sounds like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Pictionary.
I wasn't just doing it a little bit. I mean, I was pretty aggressive.
He's literally flailing his arms around the studio. Oh my god! But I do. I try and search up specifically like Greek cuisine or Greek side dish or Italian side dish or Filipino side dish or something of that nature, because it's fun to me to try those different things. And a lot of times they're so similar, like cottage pie versus shepherd's pie. There's always this debate because one is beef and one is lamb and so on and so forth. But it does make a difference in the dish. Yeah. And mashed potatoes, and again, I know I'm butchering this. Pommes aligot is the French version. All it means is it's got a boatload of butter, cream, and Gruyere in it. and it literally pours out of the pan like a white gravy.
Mm.
And I
Delicious.
could just eat that whole pan of mashed potatoes. It is so unbelievably good. And I'll make it with Swiss cheese to bring it down to low sodium so I can have it.
I know we're right on the back
Ooh.
on the back end of this, and we've done a show like this. I know you have in the past, but as the weather starts getting warm, it's always salad season.
Yes.
And I love I'll do a lot of pasta salads during.
Same.
Just it's delicious.
Same. And we'll have some samples, and we're gonna have a lot of fun shows this year. So find us on YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
Yes.
216 the net. The more users we have, the more things that we are capable of doing. MyLoso Lifestyle and MyLosoLifestyle.com, 216thenet.com. Follow us, share us out, and come join us for other great shows. And Dream Home Builders, In the Know with Steph and Joe. We got all sorts of good shows on the station.
You name it. Thanks for getting caught in the net this morning. And remember, folks, be good and be good to each other.